BBC T's Nigel Thompson and the team through until 6 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. Just gone 9 minutes past 5. I've got your travel update very soon, and of course I'll look at the weather in detail as well. It's very changeable weather, or enduring perhaps at the moment. But back to some of the day's news. We were contacted at BBC Tees by Maria Blades, who's from Stockton on Tees, in connection with her brother Anthony Malone, a former paratrooper who's also from Teesside. He's being held in prison in Afghanistan. Maria joins us live in the studio now. I mean, Maria, you got in contact with us. Tell us why.
Basically, we contacted you because we have began a campaign to help with the release of Anthony.
And he's your brother. He's been in prison in Afghanistan, and apparently he's been there for quite some time. Is it 2.5 years?
He's been there for 2.5 years, yeah. The original sentence was 10 months, but he got sentenced to 10 months in 2008. But the original trial, he got resentenced just after that to 2 years.
And Maria, what was he sentenced for? What's he done?
All we know is that he's been accused of being in debt, and that's why he's been imprisoned. And
is that a crime in Afghanistan?
We don't. We believe it's in clear violation of international law, and it's not a criminal offence in Afghanistan.
Okay, we'll listen to that, and joining us now is Alex Cunningham, who's Stockton North Labour MP. Mr Cunningham, thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm sure you're aware of this case. So what do you make of it, and what can you do about it?
That Maria and her father were the first people into my first surgery as a new MP. They explained the situation. It's absolutely intolerable that a British man from my constituency languishes in an Afghan prison. He's actually in fear of his life, and yet there's no legal basis there for holding him because, it is against international law, as Maria said, to detain someone for reasons of debt. What I've been doing is I've been I've been talking to the Foreign Office, and I wrote to the Minister with responsibility for Afghanistan, that's Alistair Burt, asking him to intervene personally. Now, sadly, that was about 12 days ago that I wrote to the Minister, and this afternoon I called his office, and I was promised an update, but sadly I'm still waiting for that update, but we're trying to keep some pressure on the Foreign Office to act.
Maria, what do you make of that? I mean, is he doing his best? Could more be done, do you think?
Well, we're very grateful to every single person who's trying to help us, including Alex Cunningham. We just need to keep pushing and keep trying and get answers, really.
Do you feel you are? I mean, from what Mr Cunningham was saying there, he's doing the right kind of channels, the right kind of movements, perhaps. But in a country like that, it's quite a chaotic scene, we understand, at the moment. I mean, what chance has one person's plight, been raised in this kind of way? What chance is there, do you think, that you could be listened to?
Well, we just have to keep trying. That's all we can do. Obviously, it's been in the local press that it was brought up in the House of Commons last week, so we do know that David Cameron is aware of it and trying to deal with the situation.
And Mr Cunningham, when it comes to yourself, I mean, you say you're in touch with the government. Are they listening to you? Do you think you are getting a fair hearing?
Well, I would have been happier if I had had a little more news a little quicker. I know there are issues about security and the length of time it takes to make contact in these situations. I also know that the British government will be reluctant to interfere in what they see as the Afghan legal process. But you can't emphasise enough that Anthony is being held illegally under international law, and I think the Foreign Office should be making a much higher priority than they seem to be at times. So I will continue every day now this week until I get this answer. I was promised this update this afternoon. I'm still waiting for that, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to talk to the family hopefully later today, failing that maybe tomorrow.
And Patrick Malone, when it comes to what you heard there, I mean, do you get the sense that things are gathering momentum, that perhaps some could soon be?
Yeah, things have just started to get a little bit of momentum, but I think a lot of the problem is at the second trial, Anthony was charged with fraud and corruption. So I don't know why he was charged with that. As far as we know, there's no evidence for it.
And Alex, just finally to you, if I can. So, I mean, this is a man's life, isn't it? He's had 2.5 years held as he is at the moment. I mean, how much longer do you think can he go on?
Well, I mean, I don't know that, and neither does anyone else. But at least he knows now that we're back here. The family are fighting hard. I know there are various groups organising to try and raise his profile. I'll continue to do that. But going back to what his dad just said a minute ago, I'm not convinced that Anthony had proper legal representation when he came to trial the last time, and I think that's all the more reason why the Foreign Office need to be in there interfering. Maybe they don't want to, but I think they should be interfering to make sure that he's properly represented and released as soon as possible.
Yeah. At the original trial, Anthony didn't have any legal representation whatsoever. He had no representation, no interpreter, and nobody from the embassy. It was the same at the second hearing.
Yeah, well, that sounds as though
he was helping him.
It sounds as if he's been badly let down there, and so I think we've got to try and recover the situation as quickly as possible now, and keep the pressure on, and rest assured I'll be doing that.
We'll watch and see what happens. Listen, thanks very much for joining us. That's Alex Cunningham, Stockton North Labour MP, and also thanks very much to Maria Blades and for Patrick Malone, who's joined us live tonight here on BBC Tees. We'll of course keep across that story and hopefully bring a successful resolution in the near future. It's BBC Tees. It's just gone 5:15.